coastline are still flooded. The meteorological agency says many tidal stations on the coastal areas of Tohoku, Hokkaido, and Kanto cannot get data on tsunami. It says the accurate height of the waves will be hard to measure. In Iwate Prefecture, at least 257 people have been confirmed dead. Self-defense forces say another 300 to 400 bodies have been found. In Tokyo and neighboring prefectures, 42 people have died, some after being hit by falling objects. Again, the number of people dead across Japan could reach 1,000. Many NHK reporters were on the ground when a powerful tsunami hit coastal cities right after the massive quake. This is how things happened in the city of Kamaishi in Iwate Prefecture.
At 3 p.m. Friday afternoon, Kamaishi City Hall issued a tsunami warning. Residents quickly evacuated their homes, looking for higher ground. These people managed to get to this hilltop. Mothers held on tightly to their children. They listened anxiously to the radio for more information.
港の境を越えて水が今、入り込んできています。
At 3:11, a massive tsunami swept through the city.
The quake and the tsunami have drastically changed the landscape. Take a look at these aerial pictures taken before and after the disaster.
We have a footage from above. First of all, Minami Sanrik town in Miyagi Prefecture. The left, right down is the sea, and this is the hospital building. This is a 5-storied building, but the water came in up to the 4th floor. And as of shortly before 300 patients were waiting to be evacuated. And this is Minami Sanrik town before the earthquake hit. The yellow circle is where the hospital is, and right above that there is a city office. And according to the homepage, this building is 2-storied building, but after the earthquake, as you can see, you cannot see any building which the city office used to stand. And according to the city office, there has been no contact whatsoever with the city office. Now this is Soma of Fukushima Prefecture, and the upper part of the screen is the sea, and you can see that the water came in from upper part of the screen to the lower part of the screen. And this is Soma before the earthquake. It is very green, and also in little below the center you can see residential area, and then once again the footage or the picture after the earthquake. The residential area has been inundated, and as you can see, it's been devastated. And this is Rikuzen Takata of Iwate Prefecture. This place has also been devastated, and the left part is the residential area, but as you can see, it is completely flooded. And this is Rikuzen Takata before earthquake, seen from the same angle, and you can see that the city has completely been changed. due to tsunami, the wooden structure buildings have all been washed away, and also other structures have also been damaged. And this is Sendai Airport after the earthquake. The left part is the runway, and part of the runway is underwater. And also the area surrounding the building is covered with muds and stones. And this is the picture before the earthquake. And once again, this is the picture or footage after the earthquake. As of 6 a.m. this morning, you can see that many vehicles covered under the mud below the screen.
From our studios here in Tokyo, this is Newsline. I'm James Tengan, and we're covering the tsunami and the earthquake, which occurred at 2:46 p.m. on Friday. And a lot of the damage and a lot of the fires have yet to be contained. And we have this live footage for you. You're watching live footage of the oil refining facility in Ichihara City, Chiba Prefecture. Compared to earlier images, you can see that the fire has been considerably contained. Because of its close proximity to Tokyo, many in the metropolis were seriously concerned about this fire. Again, this is live footage of the oil refining facility in Ichihara City, Chiba Prefecture, next to Tokyo. Compared to earlier images, you can see that the fire has been considerably contained. And going on to other news, prior to Friday, Japan has never experienced a magnitude 8.8 earthquake. Shaking of that intensity alone is enough to cause severe damage, but the devastation this time was compounded by relentless tsunami waves. To give us more insight on tidal waves and their destructive force, we spoke to Professor Teruyuki Kato of the University of Tokyo's Earthquake Research Institute.
Why was the height of the tsunami so different from place to place?
I think the most important factor is the landforms. In case that the line of seashore is very complicated, especially when there is a deep bay, so that the distance between the one end to the other is getting narrower and narrower to the deepest part of the bay, then the tsunami will be very much exaggerated relative to other areas. In the case of Soma, this is the area where the seashore is rather flat. So we are a little bit puzzled why the tsunami at Soma is so high. Probably there are many other factors. For example, the tsunami may be exaggerated by the multiple waves coming from different ways, and they are added each other, so that the tsunami might have exaggerated in that area. But we have to examine much more carefully in the coming days.
It's been more than 24 hours since the earthquake struck, and we're still seeing tsunami occurring. Why is this happening?
Usually, if the earthquake magnitude is 8 or less, the length of the tsunami would be several hours or at most 10 hours. However, if the magnitude of earthquake is bigger than 8.5 or larger, then the duration of tsunami will become nearly 1 day. So that is so bad situation, but we have to think if such a mega earthquake of magnitude nearby 9 occurs, we have to be patient until all of tsunami is gone, which takes about 1 day. Usually, when the large earthquake occurs, then we have to be careful about the aftershocks of that earthquake. However, in such a big earthquake of magnitude 9 or such large earthquake, then the effect of earthquake is much, much bigger to the nearby areas. In such case, we have to be careful about other triggered earthquakes of magnitude 7 or larger, and So, for example, in case of Sumatra earthquake, after that earthquake, several years, the cluster was so very much activated. So we have to be careful for the coming several or 10 of years that the large earthquake may occur in the surrounding areas.
We feel aftershock in the studio.
Right now in the studio, we are feeling a slight aftershock. Japanese government experts say the magnitude 8.8 earthquake may have occurred across a wider area than they initially thought. Experts on the Earthquake Research Committee say several earthquake focal regions were synchronized in a way they hadn't expected. The committee held an emergency meeting on Friday night. Its chairman told a news conference that observation using a GPS earthquake tracker showed that the ground at the observatory had moved about 4 meters to the east. The committee concluded that all 4 expected focal regions were synchronized. The 4 regions cover a stretch of a few hundred kilometers from waters off Miyagi Prefecture to waters off Ibaraki Prefecture. The committee's chairman said further evaluation of the quake is needed when more data has been collected. He said only then will it be possible to determine whether a quake with a magnitude of 7.3 on Wednesday was a precursor to the devastating bigger quake that followed. Japan's meteorological agency is warning people living along the Pacific coast to stay on alert. It says more tsunamis could hit the Japan shores.
The possibility of tsunami with a height of 10 meters or higher is getting slimmer, but we're still calling on people living along the coast of Tohoku region to be cautious because tsunami as high as 3 meters or more could still hit the area.
Hirofumi Yokoyama says in case evacuees return home, they should be extremely careful because they can be exposed to danger once again from aftershocks and tsunami. He's also warning residents against the possibility of buildings collapsing and mudslides. Japan's Health and Welfare Ministry says the quake has left at least 1.4 million households without water supply. The ministry says that 470,000 households are without water in Ibaraki Prefecture, as the water purification plants have stopped supplying. A Chiba government official says 310,000 households there are without water. In Miyagi Prefecture, 280,000 households have been confirmed without water. In Iwate Prefecture, 8,000 households are without water. The Health and Welfare Ministry has been collecting information on the water supply failure. 59 water trucks have been reportedly sent to Miyagi, Tochigi, Ibaraki, and Chiba prefectures. Japan's electric companies say more than 3 million households across the nation still don't have power. They say it'll take some time to restore electricity supplies. According to the Tohoku Electric Power Corporation, 3.1 million households in the Tohoku area and Niigata Prefecture were without power at 6 p.m. The Tohoku Electric Power Corporation said the damage is so serious that it'll take a long time to resume operation at the power plants. The Tokyo Electric Power Company says there is the possibility of blackouts in the metropolitan area. After the quake, nuclear, thermal, and hydro power plants in northern and central Japan halted operations for security reasons. Bullet train service on the Joetsu and Nagano Shinkansen lines in northeastern Japan resumed at 4 p.m. Tokyo time. The lines had been suspended after the quake hit the area. In a station in Nagano Prefecture, people who had been awaiting the resumption of services boarded a train. The East Japan Railway Company had halted the Shinkansen service on the Tohoku, Yamagata, and Akita lines in the north of Japan for 1 day. Some train services in the coastal area of Chiba Prefecture near Tokyo and lines connecting the capital with northeastern Japan were shut down after the quake. But local trains in Tokyo are gradually returning to normal operation. Tsunami waves have claimed the first casualty abroad. A man was killed on the island of New Guinea in Indonesia after being swept away. Authorities say the death occurred after a tsunami measuring 1.5 meters